So you want to know how to clean out your old school Nintendo? Well, let's hope it looks like this. Which means you have now taken it apart and you're looking at the insides. So once you get down to it and you remove the clicky thing, clickety clack and so forth, you can then remove this connector-y thing. What a weird design. Anyway, how'd they think this was the best option? I guess it's pretty futuristic with the whole... I mean, this was around the time of Betamax and all that rubbish. What are we talking about? Ah, cleaning. So we're going to give this a clean. In particular, we're going to be cleaning this side, which is where the actual cartridge goes in, and is a reason for red blinky light when you try and put the game in, or just a blank screen. It's happened to me before, so try giving it a bit of a clean up. So clean these contacts here and that which the contacts connect to. So let's get it started. Let's find the tools that we'll need. But before we go ahead and I show you the things that we need to clean the cartridge slot, I thought we'd just have a quick look at the capacitors on board here. So we've got a whole bunch of ceramic ones, and as far as I can tell, there's only well, 4 electrolytics, which is good. It means that the chance of failure is quite low, and the fact that they've used Rubicon in this particular one is even better. Now mine is, well, it's not technically mine, but this one I'm working on is a revision 11 board, NES-CPU11, which was the final revision of the Nintendo Entertainment System, in the PAL region anyway. So apparently all the main change between the boards was just improved security on the lockout chip, which is this fellow here, the 3197. So the other capacitor is this giant one there, which is the bigger the capacitor, the less likely it is to fail. Tends to be the general rule from what I can tell. And the smaller it is, the more likely it is to explode. That may not be accurate, don't listen to me. But anyway, we do recommend replacing capacitors as a maintenance thing every so often. So the 3 on this particular revision of board, it's going to change between boards probably. Can we get them in focus? 6.3 volt 100 UF, 50 volt 2.2 UF, and 50 volt 1 UF. So if you can find something around those values, you should be good. I'm going to go have a dig around, see if I can pull some out of storage. I'm sure I've got some left over from the Iowa Mega CD, which I'm still working on, don't worry. And we'll do that as well. Give it a good thorough clean out. So all you'll need is an eraser, a card. You can use your driver's license or whatever other cards you may have lying around. And I'm going to be using some isopropyl alcohol. What's this one? It's pretty technical, blah blah blah. It's pretty pure actually. It's 99.8%. You can use something a bit lower. Typically rubbing alcohol, I think it is about a 70% isopropyl. So the rest is water. Now it's, oh believe me, on the hands, this stuff will dry out your hands in a second. The one that rubbing alcohol, a bit better, not as bad. And I also managed to find a few capacitors, so we're going to go ahead and swap those out. We've got a, what do we got? So I needed a 1 UF 50 volt, or thereabouts. And I found a 1 UF 50 volt, Panasonic. That's good. I then needed a, what are these other ones? 100 UF 6.3 volt. So I got a 16 volt 100 UF. You can go up in voltage, that's fine. Try not to stray too far away. So what will happen is, in another 20 years, when I go ahead and rediscover this, I'll be like, oh, these need new capacitors. Oh. I'll be like, oh, I don't have any 16 volts. I'll have to use 100 volt. And what happens is he just keeps, I mean, I might have had thousands of 10 volt ones in the future. Wow, I'm talking about the future in past tense. That's interesting. And the last one we had was, so yeah, you don't want to stray too far, otherwise the original values get lost. It's 2.2 UF 50 volt. Now that one was a bit of a problem. I didn't have any of those. I had them in SMD form factor, but unfortunately I don't want those. So we're going to go ahead and use a 3.3 UF 50 volt. It's okay to go up a little bit. It just means your potential stored charge is a bit higher. It does affect some of the values though, obviously, because it's going from 2.2 to 3.3. Percentage-wise, that's quite a jump, but there's nothing else I have. Closest thing that I have in the other direction is 0.47 microfarads, which isn't enough, and you don't want to have less. Otherwise, there's going to be all this extra charge, and the capacitor is going to be running way out of spec. Anyway, let the cleaning begin. So first step is grab the eraser. Ow! We're recording? Oh god. So the first thing that you want to do, now look at that, that's some of the grime I got off. I wasn't actually going to use an eraser, I was just going to use isopropyl, but have a look at what happens when you use an eraser. I mean, these pins don't look too dirty. I mean, there's a bit of something on there, but it doesn't look that bad. But if you go ahead and just do this, the magic of movies, right? Try not to flex the board as well. Make sure you've got a nice flat surface so the board doesn't flex. Look at that. So wow, that is a lot. So I'm going to keep doing that. You do the same. When you're done scrubbing, thanks to friction, it should be quite hot and your eraser quite dirty. So then your next step is to crack out the isopropyl and just give it a wipe down, really. Do that now. Hopefully these are quite old. I hope they haven't all evaporated. Oh no, that's plenty of isopropyl in there. Let's give it a good old back and forth. Yeah, I'm not getting too much off, which is good in a way. It means that the eraser did most of the work. Oh, there's a bit more on this side than the other. Done! So now the next step is, before your isopropyl evaporates, grab your cartridge slot. Get these roly-poly capacitors out of the way. And trick is to fold this over the card. Now I've done this in a previous video and it works quite well. And pretty much all you do is you just insert and remove. And eventually you'll get a bit of residue on there. Now you can actually buy these connectors brand new on eBay, I've noticed. Now which slot is that? That's the internal ones. That shouldn't be too dirty. This one, on the other hand, whoa, we're getting some dirt off that one. Jeez Louise. So just go along and do that as many times as you feel necessary, remembering how much of a pain these are to open. Just keep doing it until you don't see any more dirt. And don't forget to clean your cartridges as well. So that's another big source of where the dirt actually comes from. And you know what? We should be good. And it's just a matter of reassembling and giving it a good old test. Not for me though. I'm going to go ahead and get the soldering iron out, so stay tuned. And that's how you make music.